So this video is about why vegetarianism sucks in comparison to veganism, and why I never call myself a vegetarian even though technically I am a type of vegetarian as a vegan. So I don't call myself a vegetarian or class veganism as the same thing as vegetarianism because, as vegan activist Gary Yourofsky put it, vegetarianism is a half-assed attempt at ethical living, kindness, environmentalism and health. And whilst vegetarians deserve some credit for recognizing that eating meat is wrong in some way, they often fail to think about how hypocritical it is to continue to consume products that involve animal exploitation. When I was vegetarian for a few years before I became vegan, I just replaced meat with a lot of dairy products and a lot of eggs. I never liked honey, but I didn't avoid it on ethical grounds. And basically all of those products involve just as much animal exploitation as does eating the meat. Millions of animals are killed every year by the dairy industry and the egg industry, and bees are robbed of their proper nutrition because we want to eat their honey, which they made for themselves. And I believe that the bees are dying out because basically we're stealing their food off them. Just as an example of some of the cruelty involved in dairy production, we can see the dairy cow being forcibly inseminated, which happens year after year, which creates a huge surplus of calves. Even though the cow is being genetically altered to produce up to 12 times more milk than her calf needs, the calves will not get a drop. Instead, they are taken away from their mothers and either sold for veal and cheap beef or raised to produce milk themselves, and the cycle continues over and over. All dairy cows are slaughtered at 4 to 5 years when their milk production declines. They would naturally reach an age of 20 to 25 years. 21 million dairy calves are slaughtered every single year by the dairy industry for veal. Veal would not exist without the dairy industry. If you have an image in your mind that dairy cows roam around in fields of grass, living out their natural lives, and we just come along and take some surplus milk from a lactating cow doing any harm, then you are seriously deluded. A mother's milk is for her babies and for her babies alone. Just as an example of the cruelty involved in egg production, the egg industry kills 6 billion newborn male chicks every year. These chicks are useless to the egg industry, and despite having more awareness than a newborn human baby, are thrown into plastic bags to suffocate or tossed into a machine which grinds them up alive. Female chicks are sent to farms to live horrible lives crammed into cages or sheds where they will be cruelly debeat. They will see no sunlight or breathe any fresh air. They have been selectively bred to produce 250 to 300 eggs per year instead of just 10 to 15 eggs that they would naturally produce. And instead of living 10 to 15 years of life, they are all slaughtered, gassed, or just left for dead in piles at just 12 to 18 months when their egg production declines. So two of the main reasons that I found people become vegetarian is either that they just don't like the taste of meat, or that they think it's unethical to eat meat. Well, firstly, how gross is it to eat a chicken's period? An egg is a chicken's period. It's an unfertilized egg, and it comes out of its ass. And why do you think you have any business sucking on cows' boobies? You know, you're not a baby, and you're certainly not a baby cow. And honey, well, that's made by the bees, and they eat the pollen and then they regurgitate it into honey. So effectively, it's bee vomit. So if you're vegetarian for health reasons, well, in most studies where I've seen vegans stacked up against vegetarians, vegans always tend to do better, especially with things like lower BMI and lower risk for heart disease. When I was a vegetarian, I didn't think much about the cruelty involved in the clothing that I was wearing, like leather, wool, silk, and fair. And I didn't look out for cosmetics and household products that weren't tested on animals. So why am I picking on vegetarians in this video, not just meat eaters in general? Well, the main reason is that vegetarians, as I said, have already recognized that it's wrong to eat meat. So if they just take the next logical step to not exploiting animals in any way, then we have many more vegans in the world, and that would make a real difference in terms of the number of vegans and the clear message that it would send out that veganism is the way to go. Veganism is a compassionate lifestyle that eliminates the most amount of cruelty to animals. It's one that has the lowest environmental impact, and it's one that I believe has the best health outcomes of any lifestyle. So if you're vegetarian and you're watching this video, it's time to take the next step. It's time to step up and live to your ethical values. It's time to eat a healthier diet. My advice is eat more whole grains and pulses, and eat as much fruits and vegetables as you can. And make sure you take your B12 and your D3 if you live in cold, cloudy areas. And eating a diet like that, everyone's going to get a lot of benefits from it in terms of lowering cholesterol, reducing your risk of a heart attack, having more energy and vitality, and just feeling more connected to nature, feeling more like your real self. And it's never been easier to find vegan alternatives in terms of clothing, household products, and cosmetics. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them down below. And until next time, increase the peace, be vegan.